Yeah, so I just wanted to get going on this. So what is up with this Caitlin Clark thing? Have you been
Caitlin
keeping up with that?
It's such a boring story to me. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Why
But
is
yeah,
that?
we were talking about because it's women's basketball.
Oh, man.
Like,
She can smoke you. I guarantee it. She can smoke you.
on the basketball court.
On the basketball court.
Of
Yeah.
course she could. I'm not going to deny that. You know, it's like she's a much better basketball player than I ever was. Of course, you know, I topped out at 5'9". Like, okay, like the stats say it for themselves, man. Like, you know how many people watch women's basketball? It's like their moms.
Right now,
And that's about it.
No, that's the whole point. And she is a lot of fun to watch. It's like watching level 2 college men's game. That's what it's like watching. And but it's still not as physical as a level 2 college men's game. So,
well, now you say it's not as physical, but
no,
some of the videos that I've been seeing of Caitlin Clark, like they've been taking that chick to task.
Hey man, did we lose you? Are you there?
You know, like shit. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, a little glitchy,
you froze there.
You're in here.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
finish
but
up
anyway,
what you were saying.
No, I've been saying, you're saying it's not as physical, but some of the abuse that she's been taking from some of the other players has actually been kind of impressive. Like, but they got that real like hissy cat thing going on where it's like
definitely.
she came in.
Oh, yeah.
She came in and she's the new girl on the block, and she's, you know, not a lesbian, which a large portion of the WNBA is. And so it's like they're really.
Is that what the hate is really all about? Is it? I bet that's what the hate is actually all about.
I think it's
the boys love her, and the other butches are jealous. That's what the hate's all about, right?
Maybe she didn't take any of their phone numbers.
Well,
you know,
for what I know, I'll just share this a little bit. For what I know, back in my basketball days, so I was around 14. All right. I'm drooling in my cream of wheat. I get it. Back in.
y'all are too kind.
Yes. Thank you, audience. Back in my day, 14, 15, okay, and I rolled out between 16 and 17, and I rolled back in.
Yeah.
But anyway, the game was going good. The particular gym that I was working in, we had a gal that came in. Her name was Rhonda, and 6'2", something in that nature. And she came in and she was going to do a walk-on for a Division II school. And her coach told her, said she played like a pansy. But that's actually not the word the coach said.
I guarantee.
I guarantee. Yeah, okay. So anyway, she played like a pansy, and she needed to go play with a bunch of old guys and learn how to do some. Oh man, this is gonna sound bad. Bumping and grinding, but that's what it used to be called back in the day. Okay.
Shouting needs to know how to get low.
So I, how to play some rough basketball. And so Rhonda would come into the gym, and of course I was there playing with the old guys because exactly the same reason. How to use my weight, how to box out, use my body. A little rougher game. That's what I was learning how to pick up. And you play with the old dogs and you will learn that game.
Right.
They do it really well. And so Rhonda, I'm telling you, those girls use emery boards on their elbows and their butts, man. I mean, she'd put an elbow into you and it'd be like, I've had a guy hit me with an elbow and it don't hurt like that. Like,
what are your elbows made out of? Knives?
Good night. And she would bend down. She would bend down and put her butt into you, right in your thigh. And I've had guys do that and not give me Charlie horse. I got 2 Charlie horses over her nailing me with her hip and her butt. And
any other time I would be really into this, but right now,
but I'm getting bruised and beat up in this game. I mean, so when chicks really put themselves into it, they can nail you. I mean, they it's bony, okay. All right. Moving right along.
You ready to get into this tonight, man?
Let's get into this. So what do you got? What do you got on your brain? What are you bringing to the table tonight? I can't believe I don't know what it is. It's like the biggest thing in politics at the moment.
Yeah, we're gonna do the who's who and what's new. You're gonna give us your Devo that you got for this evening, and then of course what case on the internet which who knows what's going to happen with that. But
who knows what case saw on the internet?
Starting right off the top, like the Democrat National Convention is going on.
Ooh, there's a new name I haven't heard.
And right out the gate, right at the races, I'm looking at or the social media formerly known as Twitter, I guess, the X now.
X.
They've got pro-Palestinian Hamas holes already downtown. They're rioting. They've already broken through some of the gates that were set. Oh yeah, that's
officially
the other thing.
They are rioting.
They're still protesting right now. They've got thousands of cops that they've brought in from all over the nation, not just in Chicago, because they were already expecting this thing to go off the rails. Downtown Chicago looks like they're prepping for a hurricane, like boarded up windows in all the shops and whatever. I seem to remember when the Republicans came into Milwaukee didn't really have to do that, right? That's not really a thing. But as soon as you say like, hey, Democrats are coming here, they're like, board up the shops, you know? Oh. It's like, bar the windows. Like, well, so,
and let's be honest, it's not the DNC. It's
what goes along with the DNC.
BLM that's coming in
right,
with it.
And Antifa, and like I said, the Hamas holes that are already there. And then another thing for the crowd that doesn't really seem to think that walls work, I noticed that they sure put up a lot of barriers and a lot of walls really quick. So that's another thing that's pretty funny.
Well, actually, that's the same thing that they had down in Milwaukee for the RNC. It's exactly the same gating system that they used.
Well, I mean, there's got to be a certain amount of traffic control so that you can keep security and people got to funnel in through here. We can't have everybody just willy-nilly running around the buildings, have access to the back where the main speakers are going to be moving in and out of. You do the same thing when there's a concert. Like, that's not what I'm getting at. I find the hypocrisy to always be funny, and like you got to point it out because the emperor's not wearing any clothes.
Well,
right?
Okay, the hypocrisy that I see. So, did you know this? I'm looking at it now. I'm trying to get the number, but nothing's flashing the numbers up on the screen. But National Guard is being deployed to assist. The Illinois National Guard deployed to assist Chicago police at the DNC. They're not going to be visible until they're needed, but they are being stationed just blocks away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well.
And here's the, and I'm going to bring this up. J6. No, we don't need them. DNC, they're already stationed just blocks away.
Right. No, 100%.
That's hypocrisy.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I want so badly. It's not that I want to see violence, right? Obviously, I don't ever want to see violence. What I'm saying is, without a doubt, every single time these groups come in, it does inevitably evolve into violence. And I'm looking forward to seeing the chickens come home to roost and watch these defund the police, no law and order, open borders, politicians that push all this stuff get their just desserts. Right. And to be embarrassed by watching the inevitable outcome of their terrible policies. Like, butter the popcorn. I'm here for it. You made this bed. I'm going to enjoy watching you have to lie in it. Right. So there's that. But the one headline that I did pull here about the DNC, and I thought that this was absolutely hilarious. Tell me if you saw this. So Planned Parenthood, this is from New York, The Sun. Oh, immediately got hit with the ad. Get out of here. Okay, so Planned Parenthood to offer free vasectomies, abortions to attendees of the Democratic National Convention, and apparently
at the convention.
Yeah, they've got.
Oh, there's where you go to get a vasectomy. Go to the DNC.
Oh, well, and apparently they're so booked up already that they're like, people are like in line waiting, and they're doing like vasectomies one day and then like
insane.
Abortions. Yeah, no, it's absolutely nuts. Right? And so personally, I want to thank
vasectomy. That was a good one.
Thanks.
They're nuts. It was really good, man.
It just rolls off the tongue. Low hanging fruit.
Yes.
Yeah. You guys are too kind. All right, knock it off. What's the matter with you guys? All right. So anyway, but I mean, personally, I hope, like, Democrats, thank you for this. I hope every single Democrat man, liberal man, lines up to go get the snippety snip. Hey, get two, right? Because they're all the rage these days, guys. And it's hilarious. And this is one of the reasons that they say, like, ultra liberal, like, they don't make any bones about it. They say, well, we don't have kids. We have your kids. And it's like look at the way that they treat their voters. They are actively trying to sterilize their voting base. So it's like, well, I don't understand how you think that you have any future as a political party, or that how you can pass your ideals along, because if you're not having children, if you don't have progeny, like, isn't that doomed to fail, just biologically speaking?
So if you can remember, how many years ago, I believe you were still in high school, if I'm correct here, but they already knew that long ago, they were tracking the idea that the reason why for having abortions.
No,
I'm sorry.
I have no idea where you're going.
There's another
the bus,
thing.
I don't get it.
No, I'm sorry. There's something playing in my ear, so I gotta take it down.
Gotcha.
But anyway, I believe you were still in high school when they were tracking that abortions were going downhill, and they were relating it to the idea that because of killing off their own, even the idea of abortion was becoming more of a minor thing. Am I right? When you were back in high school, that was the theory?
They were saying that, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you kill out your own way of thinking.
Well, and let's just be like, a lot of people don't know this. If you look at the history of Planned Parenthood, like, there's a reason, not to get too deep down this rabbit hole, but go, use Brave or DuckDuckGo, because you won't find this information on Google, but go look up the history of Planned Parenthood, how it goes back to a eugenicist named Margaret Sanger, and like why she and she came out of the ultra feminist movement, and she, in her writings and in her speeches, like, flat out said that she wanted to use abortion to keep in check or even stamp out a certain race of people. And then if you go and you look at where they put the bulk of their Planned Parenthood, Mrs. CFC, Hannah and I were talking about this on the way down here. The black population is like less than around 13% of the United States population.
Okay, I've heard 15, but okay.
If you take roughly half of that and say that those are the females, right, then you're looking down at around, I think, like 6% of the population, give or take. These numbers are fungible. I'm trying to hit it in the ballpark, guys, so don't go out and like get all of them with the fact checks.
Generalities.
But then if you take that group of black women and then pare it down further and say, okay, how many of those women are of childbearing age and then even straight, right?
Okay.
And then so you're looking at, like, probably, I would say maybe 2% of the U.S. population. Okay, so 2% of the U.S. population. Did you know that they're having almost 40% of the abortions in the United States?
Wow.
40% of all abortions that are performed are performed on black females. And so it's like, if you look at that, because that then would go to suggest that black females are very sexually active. Hannah and I did some number crunching, and we were like, you do realize, like, they're saying, they don't want to be a minority anymore. They've been cramming it down our throats for the last 10 years about how it's demographic destiny and white people are on the decline and minorities are going to be the new majority. And it always makes me laugh because they're like, minorities are going to be larger in population, and I'm like, you do realize then you would be the majority. But like, I'm not going down that rabbit hole with that. But seriously, if you could stop abortions in the black community within 3 generations, just by those numbers alone, they would be the demographic majority in the United States.
They would grow. I mean, I can't necessarily tell you where they would be because of what ifs, ands, or buts and other things, but it would be larger than where they are now.
And it cracks me up too, because we both are so ardently pro-life. Abortion is murder. Change my mind. Spoiler alert: you can't. That's a human being that you're killing.
It's a human being.
But
at conception.
But still, it's like people come at me all the time and they're like, oh, you're racist for thinking that way. You want to take healthcare. You're also misogynist. You want to take healthcare away from women. You want to take healthcare away from black people. They have the right to their own bodies. And I say, no, I would argue that I care more about the black community than any of you because I'm trying to save black babies' lives.
Babies. Yeah.
I'm trying to save babies like black, yellow, red, white, zebra striped. I don't care. It's like
They are precious in his sight.
I care about all human beings. And so I would argue that I care more about the black community than any of you. You know what I mean? Just by virtue of them being human beings. But anyway, I didn't mean to get off all down that rabbit hole.
But here we are, opening day of the DNC, and they are performing free ones somewhere in some parking lot outside. Is that what you're saying?
Basically, yeah, they brought buses in. So, also, you're going to go get your balls clipped in a dirty bus in downtown Chicago?
Yes. I was like, do I get a certificate with this or something? Because I feel like I've done something I should be proud of. I mean, that's just asinine.
Yeah, you get a free shot of penicillin on the way out the door. You're going to need that.
You're going to need that. You betcha.
Yeah. All right, so this is the other story that I wanted to bring up that I thought was absolutely hilarious, and I'm just gonna have to share my notes with you because I think it's a Washington Post article, which is hilarious. But I can't go to Washington Post to show it to you because I'm not a subscriber there, so I had to take a screenshot of it.
Yeah, you got to go do that to go behind the wall. Anyway, you got to be a subscriber. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, can you see this on your screen? That headline right there.
It says opinion. When your opponent calls you communist, maybe don't propose price controls.
Right. It's hard to exaggerate how bad Kamala Harris's price gouging proposal is. So
it's price gauging. It's price gauging. It's price gauging.
Well, the article said gouging.
I know. Did you hear? But you got to hear the audio. She doesn't say price gouging.
Yeah. I know to what you're referring. But to give a little bit of context on this, Kamala Harris came right out and is calling for price controls on groceries because it's those. And there's a few things that we got to talk about to make all of this make sense. But she's saying government should go in and set the prices on grocery stores because those evil, mean, capitalist corporate grocery stores
are
gouging their customers. And point number one on this is that every single time government setting price controls on things, especially food, every single time that it's ever been tried, it always leads to food shortages. Right. And there's a few and then point number two, and go back and fact check me on that. Have fun. Right. If you don't think I'm correct, you're wrong. Like, I guarantee you, without a doubt, every single time that's been tried,
history's on your side. History's on your side.
Shortages. Two, calling groceries. People don't understand that grocery stores probably operate on the slimmest profit margin.
I just heard today how much
any other business. It's like 2% is what they make.
Between 2 and 3%.
All they do is exist as the man in between to say, come here and we will keep these items on the shelves readily available for you. The producer is making the bulk of the money for it. The transportation is making the next biggest amount. And the grocery store makes the slimmest of the profit margins on all this. So going after the grocery stores, like this dumb idiot, I almost called her another name. But this lady right here, she's going to go after the grocery stores. Do you know what the grocery stores are going to do as soon as she says, hey, you can't sell that loaf of bread? You can only sell it at $5.99. Like, do you know what the grocery stores are going to do? Well, I guess we're not carrying bread now.
Or they sell it at $5.99
because I can't make any money on it.
Right.
Because I can't get it from the producer for that. So if I can't make any money on it, I will go upside down. Like, what are you going to do, government? Are you going to write me the check, the balance, or the difference? Sorry, to keep me open? No,
well, even if they do, because it's called a subsidy if you do that. But when the government gives you money for a subsidy, where did the money actually come from?
Yeah, you're paying
for the taxpayer.
Right.
So
the government doesn't make money, people. The government has your money.
So yeah, there's two ends to that. But now let's ferret that out just a little bit. So they say $5.99 for that loaf of bread. Now Walmart can go to that supplier and say, we're going to sell X amount of that bread. And the government says we can sell it at $5.99. Well, this is how much we can take off of you. What kind of deal are you going to give me? And that subsidy person goes, or not subsidy person, but that manufacturer goes, well, if you do that, then we'll give you that bread at $3 a loaf. Well, now Walmart can make some money off of it. It's not necessarily the margin that they want to make, but Walmart can make money off of it. But you go to the mom and pop store, and mom and pop store says government says that I have to sell that at $5.99. I can't sell it anymore, and I can't sell it any less. Which, by the way, everybody, you do realize that states do this with gasoline.
Yes.
So just keep this in mind when we say this.
Well,
So
energy is one of the most heavily regulated and subsidized of all of the sectors.
They go to the manufacturer of the bread, and the manufacturer of the bread says, well, how much are you going to take off of my hands? And they say, well, we're a little mom and pop store. Yeah, we can only take X amount. Well, we have to sell that to you at $6.15 at $6.25. I know it's really close, but but we can only sell it at $5.99. Sorry, you're taking out such a low volume. We're going to give it to you at $6.25. Mom and pop grocery store will not sell that item. Where's the only place you're going to go and get it? At the big box store that can buy it in bulk and drive it down. What's the other thing this is going to do to the mom and pop store?
They're going to go out of business.
They're going to go out of business.
Because see COVID. Yeah, like look at what happened during COVID. It was the same situation. Hey, you got to close down unless you're essential, right? Sorry, like small town restaurant owners. Sorry, gym owners. Sorry, whatever.
Yep.
And these people are going. I still have to pay rent. Like that didn't stop. The landlord's still going to come around. Like he still wants his checks, right? Like can't And so that's exactly what happens. And then government is the natural enemy of small business. Government is the natural enemy of entrepreneurialism.
It's supposed to be the protector of it.
Of course it is.
But it's because of lobbying. Because you get these lobbyists that come in and pay senators millions of dollars, ones that have been there for 20, 30, 50 years. And of course, these are the guys. This is a good argument for term limits, because if you make it to where it's too expensive to buy senators and representatives, it'll knock this stuff off. But anyway, so they invest in a senator, lobbying money. And next thing you know, there's a federal regulation that's been brought in. And the small guys can't compete because they can't go. They don't even have the money to go lobbying. But your other bigger stores can, and they do. Now, back to the fuel and the energy. The only reason why the small stores work as well as the big stores is because they not only regulate how high you can sell it, they also regulate how low you can sell gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
And so it keeps everybody in the same ballpark, and that's the only reason why that your gas stations can make it. In fact, here's a long-time statistic. Gas stations really cannot have gas wars against each other. The way that the gas stations do it, the way they make their money is off the stuff that you go inside and buy.
Right. Yeah. No, their margins are pretty slim too. But final point that I wanted to make, but right before I get there, right? So that's why I tell everybody, like, if you're gonna do it, go straight to producer. Like, you're gonna go get your milk, like, go talk to an actual dairy farmer, get your stuff from them.
Hold on, like, can't do that in most states.
Go straight. Well, look.
Okay.
Do what you can get away.
Enough said.
Do what you can get away with, people. Right?
Do the nod.
We're working on getting like a straight to rancher subscription based like meat deal right now, so we can go straight to them, support them, grass fed beef, poultry, pork, and stuff like that. Like, anytime that I can support a local business by just cutting out as much regulation and red tape, then it's better for your health, it's better for your wallet, it's better for your community, because that's how community bonds are strengthened. Like, I really am. That's the direction we're going. But one more thing that I wanted to point out about this story before we bounce off of here is that her communist, like, she goes, oh yeah, prices are too high. So in natural, like, because I'm pretty sure that this woman is about as wide as an ocean and as deep as a puddle, because like these are like, this is the way that she thinks about things. She goes, oh, prices are too high. Well, I'll just go tell them to lower the prices. And you're like, lady, but okay. But I like the fact that her communists like came out, so that everybody can see it. Because here's the thing, like, when Washington Post, when the Jeff Bezos diary comes out and tells you like, hey, you might want to back off this communism thing, like the whole like setting prices from the government, like that's a little radical. Like, you are losing she's losing her own cheerleaders who are like turning around and they're like, Sad
That's about
trombones.
that is
Yeah.
about the sound of it.
But she's losing her own cheerleaders because they're like, yo, you need to calm down the communism speak. Like,
So was that out of the Washington Post or the Wall Street Journal did a thing where they were advising Wall Street and actually wrote one of them. I think they wrote an op-ed concerning her policies being a little too heavy red, if you know what I mean by that color, a little
yeah.
too heavy red, and advising.
little too ching-chongy, if you know what I'm saying.
And they were advising Wall Street to be leery of the policies. That just came out today. I thought that was Washington Post, but I might be wrong about that.
This was a Washington Post op-ed that I pulled up for you to read. Then one more DNC story to share with you because I thought this was like pathetically funny, but also you gotta love to see it. Like, you know, who usually like winds up and like puts the clashing cymbal, right? The crescendo on the end of your national conventions. So
your main line.
Yeah, that.
Your main line guy. Your main guy.
The leader of the party, typically, right?
It's the big celebration, accepting the nominee, confetti falls, balloons. Yeah.
Right. They brought President Biden in on the very first night of the convention to speak. How pathetic does that make him look as the supposed head of the party? That they're just like, well, we gotta let him at least speak at the convention, but we'll just do it on Monday and just kind of get it over with, and he can.
Well, there's a couple of views of that. You say how pathetic that makes him look. My statement would be is how afraid of his patheticness are they that it'll make them look.
Yeah, I think it's a two-prong thing because
they're afraid of how he will make them look.
Right, they're trying to keep his stank off of everybody else. Yeah, because they're trying to save tickets and down ballots and all that.
Get him in and get him out.
Right, send him back to Rehoboth Beach, man.
There you go. You know, the old man on the beach.
Basically.
Yeah,
I don't know. But anyway,
staring off into the sunset.
That's what I got for you tonight. That's the who's who and what's new. And of course, I'm going to be keeping my eye on the DNC, keeping my eyes on these protesters and watch things unfold. I'm excited. I got the popcorn buttered. But
okay, yeah. we got about 5 minutes. So before we need to move on to the next thing. So I just want to ask you this: your best guess, is it going to break out? Is the riot really going to happen? What do you think is going to happen on the outside?
Yeah, I really think so. I think I'm predicting, this is just my humble prediction. I don't know that they call in the National Guard because the optics of that from like the whole defund the police.
They're on standby.
Crowd. I know, but I don't know if it gets that bad. But you know, they've already got police running around. Thousands of them. I think that they move in decisively and quickly. I think you're going to see, well, there's already arrests today, at least 4 that I read about of Antifa members. I think you're going to see arrests like real. Yeah, I think you're going to see arrests like really quick, fast, and heavy because they're basically going to be like every single time they see a flashpoint, they're going to like snatch that down really quick because they can't afford to have, Minneapolis 2020 vibes going on in Chicago while this thing's going on because the optics of that would just be too bad.
Do you think they don't want the optics of it, or do you think that the Democrats are scared to be around it?
I had both, all at once. They don't want it. They don't want fiery but mostly peaceful protests breaking out. They definitely don't want to be looking like they're calling the cops in to arrest, like, let's just be honest, like their left-wing base, like that's their very radical base.
Why? Kamala they also just call the police and get them all out of jail. Hey, it's not like she ain't done it before.
I know, but they gotta be separated from it. You know what I mean? Like I think that they're really between the proverbial rock and the hard place.
Sure they are.
Right
They
now.
can't do that
And
stuff out in the open now.
And at a certain point, this animal is going to have to chew off its own foot to get out of the situation
get out of it.
that it's put itself in.
That is really, a good analogy.
It really is, and I'm very interested to see what ends up having to be sacrificed from the party in order to, ensure survival at this point moving forward.
All right, 2 minutes. Here's the next question. You ready for this? If what you say happens, will it affect the election? Will it affect the electorate? Will it have an effect on the voter?
Man, I don't know. I think so. As far as are you talking about like liberal, or centrist, like undecided voters, swing voters? Is that who you're talking about?
I'm saying, will it cause Trump to rise in the polls eventually? Will this create a blowout election?
Man, I don't foresee Trump's poll numbers really bumping too far. I don't think, and there's a few
they're
reasons
lying
for that.
out their teeth about his current numbers.
Of course they are, and there's a few reasons for that. Like Trump voters, they just don't talk to pollsters. Like they're not the type of people that are going to pick up the phone. There's that. I think, every poll that you're seeing is being manipulated at some level, whether it's like who they're sampling or how the numbers are being presented to you at the end.
Sampling is going on. Yeah.
Misrepresentation. So there is that. I do think, though, that you're going to watch this whole like Kamala mania, like the Kamala
just call
whatever
it
they're calling it.
Commie.
Whatever.
She's a commie.
Yeah, commie. The Harry Balls campaign. I think you're going to watch her poll numbers really start to fall after this, because I don't think that there's any there might be like a little transient, like, the DNC and we do our hurrahs, like you were saying, and balloons and confetti, and everybody's like, oh yes. And I think there might be a little bump, but then after that, and like all these Twitter videos are going to be coming out from like what's happening this week at the DNC. I think it's going to do like Trump has kind of hit his ceiling, right? As far as that's concerned, I don't foresee him going up too much from anything. Everybody kind of knows who he is, and it's like, right, you're not going to radically find out something new about him that just causes everybody to fall in love with him, right? But I think that Kamala has, like, we don't realize how low her floor is, and she's being propped up right now. And so what I think is going to happen is you're going to see her kind of hit the edge. She's going to have to take questions for the press eventually, which they said she's going to do by the end of the month. Maybe she's got to do that. And then every time that she gets off script and she starts actually speaking, people realize like how retarded she is. And then so I think that this can only hurt her. And at this point, I don't think, it's like everybody, like I said, everybody knows, like they know Trump. He's a known figure. So nothing's going to come out that you can't hurt him. You can only hurt her. And I think he's going to cruise just fine after this. That's kind of my prediction.
All right, we shall see. So we're going to take a look. Let's kind of observe the craziness. I mean, they're already doing vasectomies and abortions out in the buses in the parking lot.
Yeah.
What? I can't wrap my brain around that. That's a party of the United States a political scene?
Right.
They're going to be doing vasectomies and abortions out in buses in the parking lot while the convention's going on?
I don't make the news, man. I just report the headlines here. You know what I'm saying?
That just, man. Man, I can't.
Is this real life? Like, it's starting to feel like a simulation.
What I want to know is how
ready
are
to believe
you
this
even
is a simulation.
And this is where I'm going. This is my turn into our next subject. How do you even be associated with that? As a decent, moral human being, how are you associated with that? It's one thing when you go, look, ma'am, you come back in. Yes, you're pregnant, and but here's what we want you to do. We want you to go talk to these doctors, go talk to these social workers, go talk to these psychologists. You're set up for a basic 3 type of meeting, and you need to understand this. And so they take you around to the professionals in an aesthetically clean place that, may lean towards having you do it. But nonetheless, there's this air of professionalism. Dude, you're talking about being in a bus out in a parking lot.
Well, and this is the same party too that was like, we can't. Oh my gosh, if you take away women's right to have an abortion, then you're going to be killing women because it means that they're going to go out and like coat hanger abortions and stuff in the back parking lot. Is the same people that bring a dirty bus into a parking lot and they're like, look at that women's health care.
I guarantee you, you're a medic. I guarantee you, your med shed is going to be 10 times better than that stinking bus.
Than a dirty
10 times.
Dirty.
I'm just trying to wrap my brain around it. Or I don't mean to be crude, and I know we got people listening in on this, and so, but at the same time, but I'm hearing, yeah, listen, I'm trying to wrap my brain around this. You get up on the bus, okay, drop your pants. I mean, isn't that what they say? I don't mean that to be a punchline. Yeah. I mean it to be as sycophant as,
here's the thing.
I can possibly paint it.
I think if you go to a dirty, repurposed, like, Greyhound bus to get a vasectomy, if you go up in there and talk to the so-called, let's just call him a doctor.
A doctor, okay.
He's going to, when you
just
ask
for
him,
the sake of argument.
Sure. When you ask him, hey, doc, where should I put my pants? He's going to tell you over there next to mine is fine. Oh, like this is the kind of,
now you, can we get a sound effect on that? Yes, thank you. But here's the thing, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Sir, you're gay. You do realize that you don't have to get a vasectomy. You do know how this works.
These jokes can write themselves, or we can cry about the situation that this country is in. One of the two.
Well, I'm really surprised that they even know how to perform a basic vasectomy or even abortion. They don't even know what a woman is, first of all, but they sure know how to.
That is by their own. That's their own. That's their own admission, right?
People are clowns.
Who can know? Who can know?
And you know what? You know what you will get from me? Mockery and derision, because that is all you deserve.
It is come to that kind of place. So here, you just took us through, but we want to keep the main thing, and we've hit our stride right here. So, and folks, the reason for the mockery, Chris, the reason for the mockery is because of common freaking sense. The whole purpose why we're here.
You said the thing.
I did. It's why we're here.
Right.
To tell the reason why we are making fun of this stuff is, come on, folks. A little common freaking sense here for just a moment. Right. Think, use your head for a little bit more than just growing hair on.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Or the brains God gave a goose, as you used to say all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's from my grandmother. So,
right.
Grandma Rose, or actually she would say, you ain't got the brains that God gave a goose.
Yeah.
So people taking a stand nowadays, biblically, there's a thing that is taught in the Bible, and it's about righteousness, and it's about taking a stand for righteousness. Because if you don't take a stand for righteousness, then that means you agree with the sinfulness that's going on. If you don't take a stand against something, that means by being silent, you're for it.
Well,
everybody understands that, right?
Right. A lot of but it's the whole science is compliance. I'll take your silence as compliance, right?
Silence. Okay, I thought you said science. Okay.
Science.
Yeah, and you go back in the Old Testament, right? And one of the things that God ordered of his kings to do was they were supposed to go tear down the Asherah poles in the high places.
Get it out of there.
And they were supposed to tear down the temples to the false gods. And how did it always start with the bad kings? Right, it was always within one generation.
It wasn't the lower level. It was the king.
It wasn't that he, King so and so condoned it, but he just didn't. He didn't tear down the poles. And then by the time, and every single time that you see that, there would be a good king, and then his son would condone it, like you said, tolerate it. And then by the time the grandchild came along, then it was full
He was
on,
doing it.
and then he
doing
was participating in it, because the thing is, like, what you tolerate today, you will be forced to participate in tomorrow. And then after you're forced to participate in it tomorrow, after that, you'll be forced to celebrate it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is always the downfall.
It is. It is. And so, here in keeping the main thing is calling for people to really take a stand. You go, well, I think another woman has the right to have control over her body. Well, okay, let's start with this. First off, we are supposed to look out for those who cannot look out for themselves. That would be the fetus.
I won't even call it the baby.
Okay.
I hate using that term because
I understand why. I'm sorry.
That's where we started losing the argument.
I'm sorry. Right.
I mean?
I see. I grew up with understanding the medical terms, but I totally get and understand, and I need to redo my thinking and my verbiage. You're absolutely right. The baby doesn't have anybody speaking for it. The whole point of our government is to speak for those who do not have a voice in justice, not in other parts, which our government has gotten into, just in the part of justice. That is the government's job. And when you can't protect the babies of your country, you're in an unrighteous, ungodly situation. Okay.
Already.
I'll tell you this, something that I'm a little against Trump about. And that is, I get why he did it. It's political expedience. And that is, you know what? We're not going to deal with it on the national level. So if we could just send it back down to the states and every state deal with it.
Yeah, he made it a non-federal issue. So that
non-federal issue.
I don't have to talk about it.
I don't have to talk about it, and it's not on me.
Right.
Now, listen, if it's in the borders of our country and it's being done, our country is doing it. I don't care what state it is. And so from a federal point, when it's being taken care of, you're making a statement by the federal government and you're saying, in America, this is morally wrong. We're not doing it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
That's the only thing.
The only thing the government exists for is to protect your unalienable God-given rights. The government doesn't give you your rights, but it is supposed to protect the rights that we recognize as being unalienable and given to you by God. And among these are life, which is the first one off the bat, right? And so it's like, if you can't protect the lives of your citizens, and then liberty and the pursuit of happiness.
And the pursuit of happiness. I can't give it to you. It's not my job to give it to you, but to protect your ability to chase after it. That you have the freedom, the liberty, different word, the liberty to go after it. Yep.
Right.
Okay. You got that right.
And we've hit that one before, the difference between freedom and liberty, but that's always a great conversation to have.
It is. It is. Yeah. And to be mindful of. So there needs to be this stand for righteousness. And we are in a culture that's, oh, come on, man. Can't we just go along to get along? Do I really need to take a stand? And we got a radio host out of the Green Bay area. He calls himself the Regular Joe. And I love what he said one time, and I have borrowed it. If you don't have a backbone, then buy a shirt with one in it.
Yeah, that's a good one. This is the problem that I have with the libertarian crowd, though. It's just like, look, I just want to be left alone to do my thing, and you stay left alone to do your thing. Well, it's like, well, if mankind wasn't
call that freedom. That's
right.
Not.
If mankind wasn't fundamentally evil, and if these people weren't like the San Francisco Gay Men's Choir came out a couple years ago and wrote a song, literally said, "We're coming for your children."
Yes,
right? They're not making any bones about it. And so it's like, when you show people this stuff and you go, sure, I would like to be left alone too. But here's the problem. Communists, by definition, cannot leave you alone, because anywhere that there's freedom and they don't have, control over it,
then they're going to out.
It's got to be free thinking. It has to be stomped out,
because it is enmity with their teaching.
Exactly. Right. And so it's like, no, I find libertarianism, like, I like the ideal of it. Sure. If in a perfect world, that would be great. But because I'm a pragmatic person at heart, like, libertarianism is a lazy man's political views.
Yeah, it's kind of like Calvinism is a lazy man's religious views. You know,
Oh, now people are really going to be.
well, it is. You know what? God's got it all. I don't have to do anything. He makes all the choices. I don't really have to do anything. All I have to do is pray that prayer. But God already knew that I was going to pray that prayer.
Right.
So, we're all good. And I don't have to, God's got this. All I need to do. In fact, I can't even fall away from it. It's all in God's will. Did I just say anything against Calvinism?
It wasn't a joke. He was
I didn't say anything that's outside of Calvinism, and that's the way that it is. That's
Yeah.
a lazy man's faith. Hey, I said that prayer,
Sure.
and I read my Bible, and you know what? Everything's taken care of. There isn't anything after this that I have to do because I can't do anything. God's got it all under control,
Well,
and I can't even affect it.
Yeah, every time I talk to a Calvinist, I'm like, "Have you read the Book of James?" I'm really, I'm
Oh,
interested.
oh, the Bible is full of us having to make a choice.
Right.
Oh, I mean, one of the ones that we all love and to quote, and let's see, choose you this day whom you will serve, either the gods on this side of the river or the gods on the other. But as for me and my house, we will is that like free will? We will serve the Lord.
And this is Joshua taking over after Moses has, passed the mantle of leadership onto him too.
Yeah.
And that's also profound that he's making the statement to them, because Joshua knows, at this point, I do believe he's experienced the Christophany by then, right? The angel of the Lord presented itself to him and told him.
That's way earlier.
And then
Joshua's
he goes
actually stepping out of leadership. I mean, this is way past Moses.
This is way past
Joshua's stepping out of leadership here.
My Old Testament timeline does get wonky sometimes.
Yeah, it's at the end of the book.
I need to go back and
so just making that comparison of us needing to choose in our faith is the same thing about us needing to choose about the righteousness and whom we associate ourselves with. I mean, I'm using that DNC and what's going off down at the parking lot. Can you imagine people making that choice? I can't. Yeah. How does your brain get to the place that you can choose that?
I almost talked myself into getting snipped one time, and we came up, and it was like 2 weeks before the procedure, and the more I thought about it, like I actually started getting kind of convicted about it.
Oh,
and I was just like,
sure.
There's a little bit of like, do I really want somebody snipping on my balls? Like, I really don't like the idea of this. And then the dirt bike accident that I had when I was a kid, and I find the fact that I have children to kind of be a miracle of God, because I almost gave myself the vasectomy when I was 14.
I was in the room when the doctor went digging for that artery, and I watched your eyes go cross. I mean,
So
she's up in there.
And so anyway, he.
No, that was a she, dude.
Oh, the original. That was before the urologist came in.
Yeah. Because you kept asking, am all I going to get is female doctors?
Yeah, all night long. That was one of these days we'll have to recount that story from beginning to end. But anyway,
it's a story. It's a story, man.
I thought about that, and I'm like, you know what? God spared me from a thing when I was a kid, and I have, at the time that I was getting ready to do this, like 3 awesome boys, and I'm just like, you know what? This is a gift that God, like, he preserved for me. And now I feel like I'm throwing it back in his face and throwing it away. And so I called the doc and I called it off. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to do it. And then, lo and behold, we had a 4th baby boy. And I wouldn't give him up for anything. I really wouldn't. And
no, you wouldn't give any. But I know why you're calling out number 4. So yeah, I walked in today. I walked in today and DJ Junior. That's what I'm going to nickname him for a little while. Anyway. Internal family thing. And, but there he was, man, just on your lap, sacked out. And, just precious
where he
little
likes
package.
That's where he likes to nap, man, right on Daddy's lap, and he puts his head on my chest. And I'll tell you this: when people ask me like what my kids look like, I'm like, well, number 4. Have you ever seen a baby a bottle of Gerber baby formula or Gerber baby food? I'm like, that's what my 4th kid looks like right there. He looks like the Gerber baby.
You do know, we used to have them, but you do know that one of my cousins was actually a Gerber baby.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, we've been accused of being photogenic here in this family.
We actually have the drawing is in one of the books, because they do the drawing, and one of the things you're supposed to get is like a 6 months or a year supply of Gerber baby food and diaper service back then.
Oh, and cool. That's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah. Ask any mama, they'll tell you. But yeah, so the sketch was in the front of one of Grandma Rose's photo albums. She actually had the sketch.
Nice.
That one, somebody sketched the little baby, and her mama put a bow in her hair and had her kind of like a little pebbles thing there, and yeah, she made the Gerber. She was the Gerber baby for that year.
Well, one more point on the whole like protecting babies and government, like it's only supposed to protect your rights, and the DNC doing the vasectomies and the abortions thing. Like, I do just want to point out that it does say, Jesus said in the New Testament that it would be better for a man to go out, tie a millstone around his neck, and throw himself into the ocean than to stand before God on the day of judgment having harmed one of these little ones.
Yeah, he had the child on his lap while he was saying it.
And so there's going to be a lot of people, and another reason that I fight so hard on the issue of abortion specifically is because I don't just see it as saving the life of a child, and because you know what, I believe that our God is a just and righteous God, and any child that is harmed that never has the opportunity to accept Jesus is innocent in His sight, and those babies go to be with the Father. And so, in a lot of ways, they're more blessed than some of us are, because they don't have to go through the pain and the life
in the arms of Jesus in heaven.
But
sure.
But I do see it as also trying to save the souls of these mothers from having committed that murder. You know what I mean? It's two souls that you're trying to save, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I pastored a church in Ashland, Kentucky for a year.
Woo! Almost a year. You almost made it.
Actually, I didn't even make a year. You're absolutely right about that. But while I was there, preached a sermon and talked about the ones who are scarred, the scarring that comes from having an abortion. The mothers that do that, there's a lot of them, 70-80%, that has emotional scarring, a form of PTSD because of murdering their own baby. And I got done with that sermon. A week and a half later, somebody from the church I would have never thought calls me up and says, "Pastor, we need to talk," and just came in and just bawled and cried and bawled and cried. Had never gone through 30 years before I ever got there, had an abortion, was still dealing with it 30 years later. And we're talking about she had an abortion when they were still illegal.
I can't even imagine, because
and she cry through it and try to help her she had never started the healing process.
Right. Hannah and I, we have 2 babies in heaven, because we've experienced 2 miscarriages, and it's still hard enough to go through. I can't imagine going through that side of it. I really can't. My heart breaks for people like that.
Yeah. So anyway, we just wanted to bring this in, and of course,
you want to say that God can forgive and God can restore. Like, that's an important.
There you go. That is an important thing to say. I'm glad you did that. And my whole point about this tonight wasn't really to get off onto abortion, but just associating yourself with that stuff. Come on, people out there, use your head. Why would you, somebody want to go down there or why would you want to associate yourself with that stuff? Wouldn't you want to associate yourself? I'm not using the opposite of the RNC. I'm not using that at all. That's not what I'm saying.
All politicians hate you.
What I'm saying is look at what is absolutely unrighteous, what is absolutely wrong. Why would you associate yourself with that?
Yeah, back during 2020, it was the clearest choice for me of all time. I remember having a conversation with a family member that got pretty mad at me, a traditional Democrat voter, but like an old school, like Southern small town Democrat voter, right? Like unions and that's what they associate the Democrat Party with.
Sure.
And I just remember being like, well, I know that you have one party that's trying to fight to keep the doors of churches open, and another party that's fighting to close the door of churches so that people can't go worship God. And I'm like, if there's no other issue that you would even consider right now, like how could you vote for that, for those policies? They're trying to close the door of your church.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How just associating yourself with things that are opposite of you. How do you do that? Things that are just evil.
They're trying to either turn your children homosexual. They're trying to genitally mutilate your children. They're trying to close the doors of your churches. They're trying to kill your children through abortion. Like I don't know. They're trying to trap your children in crappy schools where they can get no education. They're trying to keep you poor. Like I don't get it. Like I scratch my head some days because I do this whole like culture warrior thing, and I'm pointing at this stuff all the time. To me, it's clear as day. I don't understand. Sometimes you look at people and you're just like, you must willfully put your head in the sand. You must enjoy being lied to, because the world that you say exists, I'm telling you, like I'm out here, I see it. The world that you think you live in does not exist. You're making things up.
Yeah. And I'll wrap it up with this. If you don't believe it, they're bringing the stinking buses into the parking lot and making it sound like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Come on down. Snip, snip, snip.
Take this pill. Yeah.
Take this pill. Yeah. It's there. All right. We need to lighten up. And there's only one way I know to lighten up the end of the show.
You say that, but every time we do this, I walk away feeling like I dropped 10 IQ points.
I didn't say what we're lighting up.
We're getting ready to look at
lighting up your IQ, man.
We're getting ready to look at what Kay found on the internet, aren't we?
Yep, that's exactly right. So this is what Kay saw this week. So she's been so she's been working hard this week, and this particular show.
Thanks for everything you do, Kay.
And for this show, she has been sitting in the production seat and our little extra sound effects and so forth. And now we're going to get visual effects. So here we go. What Kay saw this week on the internet.
I'm on the edge of my seat, literally.
Literally.
What the heck?
Hey. Oh, did she say hi?
It's yogurt, cat. Ew.
I'm the second one. You have no right to be happy in the morning.
Oh, no. That was pitch perfect.
Hey. Gross.
Princess!
Ah, she made it. Hey.
How do you like it, Dan?
Where did he go?
Oh, it's wet.
Isn't this how YouTube got started? YouTube was like the cat video place. I did like that. I did like that one. The cat was like dangling the kitty toy in front of his face. Like, how do you like it, Dan? It's not so funny now.
Is it, Dan?
Yeah.
All right. We got any more? All right, there's
Oh,
one.
making music. Don't ask me how I did it. I just did it. It was hard. I just pulled up to the studio and laid it on the bar. I just
A couple of weeks ago, I pulled up the bull riding. We just spent a Sunday afternoon watching the bull riding. Dude,
that dude almost died. Hats on for staying in the saddle, though. Dude,
There is no saddle. There's no saddle.
As soon as those bulls realize, same thing with horses. Once a horse realizes that it can roll, that horse is almost unbreakable at that point. Once they realize that they can roll to get you out of the saddle,
Get you off. Yeah.
yeah, that actually freaked me out.
1,200 pounds rolling on top of you, and it's not light, man.
Just like grape.
Yep.
Hold up, is this your Lambo? Wow.
Who's the sweetest little boy?
Die! Oh, you mean me?
Look, we've all been broken up with. I mean, not me, but other less attractive animals.
Vanessa! I could have sworn I saw her just a second ago. Perhaps she went this way. Vanessa! You know I hate pranks! Plus, I can't stand this haircut you gave me. Just be serious for 5 seconds. Oh no. Oh no. Save the drama for your love. Hey, what are you looking at? You want a stare contest? Cause I will whoop your butt. Boom, you flinched. I bet I can hold my breath longer than you. Oh well. It's only cause I was hungry.
I show those videos to Carson where the animals are getting, they're dubbing for him, and he rolls. He thinks those are the funniest things.
Yeah. All right. Do we have more? All right. Here we go.
Good God. I'm definitely sensing the theme tonight.
Whoa!
What was that?
Now he's crying. Wow.
All right.
So-
I can't
so-
take.
So we
I
have a
almost can't
cat
take it
theme.
anymore.
Are all the rest of them cat theme? She doesn't know. These are random. She said.
I think we got time. I think we got time for like
we
two
got-
more. All right.
Okay. 2 more. That's all we got.
perfect.
Here we go. Let's rock and roll.
I hid under the bed and did this.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Somebody's grabbed me. Somebody's grabbed me. What grabbed you? Right underneath your bed. Bro, there's nothing under my bed. What do you mean? What are you talking? They grabbed me, bro. Oh my god!
Wow, she was able to speak in tongues.
Can't be real. These are staged.
Where? Oh, hell no.
Yeah, because you're safe up there. Right.
Grab his ankle.
Hiding under my twin brother's bed so I can scare him.
His balls jumped up in his throat, dude.
Yeah, did you hear that?
Yeah. Dude, huskies are the best.
They are.
Is you gonna share with me?
Shake, walk through and let him out. You want to go out? Hold on. Want to go out?
He was trained well.
Oh. That cat's gonna have.
He's gonna
He's got
PTSD from that.
He's got rhythm.
Get off my bed. I guess that's where I go.
Exactly.
Thank you.
That like does not give a crap.
All right.
There we go.
All
All right, everybody. So hope you had fun
That
tonight,
was
Chris.
fun.
All right.
Yeah. That was a good conversation, man.
It was a very, very good conversation, and I guess we'll see you back here. We'll do another one for next week.
Same bat time, same bat channel, baby.
All
CFC.
right. Common freaking sense, man. That's what we got to have.
You said the thing.
I did. All right. Catch you next week. All right.
Sounds good. I'll be there
All
with
right.
bells on.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.